Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Abington High School, the proud hosts of the 2022 Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. This two-day tournament is sponsored by Abington Bank in honor of the legacy of Sean Cotter. Mr. Cotter was a dedicated and admired resident of our town who served his community as chairman of Abington Bank, as town council for the town of Abington, as an Abington public school teacher, and as a basketball, tennis, and soccer coach for the Green Wave. Sean Cotter passed away in 2007 after a courageous battle with cancer, and this tournament is played each year in his name, as Sean was a true fan and an avid supporter of high school sports. On behalf of Abington Bank, we wish to thank the teams, families, and fans from Rockland High, Sandwich High, Cape Cod Academy, and Abington High for taking part in this year's Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, for our first tournament game this evening, please join me in welcoming the players and coaches from Rockland High School and Cape Cod Academy. At this time, please direct your attention to the visitors' bench area as we announce the starting lineup for the Cape Cod Academy Seahawks. Starting at guard, number 2, sophomore Trey Merritt. Starting at forward, number 10, sophomore Mikey Santos. Starting at guard, number 13, junior Ross Dabovic. Starting at forward, number 14, junior Thomas Brissett. And starting at forward, number 11, senior Emir Pollitt. Cape Cod Academy is led by assistant coaches David Robinson, Peter Irvin, Sam Johnson, and their head coach, Adam Rose. And now, please join me in welcoming the Rockland High School Bulldogs. Starting tonight for the Bulldogs. Starting at guard, number 20, sophomore Darmani Santiago. At guard, number 13, senior Jordan Langley. Starting at forward, number 14, senior Connor Levitt. Starting at forward, number 22, senior Mateo Vasquez. And starting at center, number 24, senior Ramsey Youssef. The Bulldogs are led by their assistant coaches Chuck McDonald, Nick LaCory, Matt Anzalone, and Dan Bailey, with their head coach Fred Damon. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you now all please rise and remove your hats as we pay tribute to our country and to those who defend our freedom by playing our national anthem.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, basketball fans of all ages, hello, and welcome to the gymnasium here on the campus of Abington High School for Game 1 of the 2022 Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. That's right, it's back after a couple of years off. As always, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, joined alongside Dr. James Madden. Doc, we've got Cape Cod Academy and Rockland going at it in Game 1. What can you tell us about these two teams?
We saw the Rockland Bulldogs earlier this season. The Green Wave faced off against them back early February. Green Wave beat them 68-56, so we're pretty familiar with Rockland. They like to stretch the floor. They like to run the entire court. Connor Levitt hit a bunch of threes in that game. And Cape Cod Academy, they're a strong squad in the Cape and Islands League. They're without 3 starters today, so it'll be interesting to see where all of their scoring comes from, including leading scorer Jaden Greenleaf, who I've had the opportunity to watch past couple seasons. He is an absolutely phenomenal player that they're without tonight.
Thomas Brissett was in with Darmani Santiago for the opening tip. The Bulldogs win it. The 3 is no good. The Seahawks, wearing their visiting navy blue jerseys and shorts, white outline around the navy blue numbers and lettering. I think that was Brissett hitting the layup. The Bulldogs in their home white jerseys with red outline around the navy blue numbers and lettering. The Bulldogs out to a 3-2 lead, 7:20 to go. The winner of this game will play against the winner of Abington versus Sandwich. Another great game. That one is slated for a 7 p.m. tip-off tonight. We'll have it for you live on the networks of Abington Community Access and Media. Ramsey Youssef had nowhere to go with it at the charity stripe, and eventually the layup attempt from Jordan Langley didn't go. The Bulldogs intercept the pass, though. Ramsey Youssef getting in the passing lane and deflecting it. He's got it in the corner.
After a slow start to the season, Rockland has really started to pick it up lately. They've won 3 of their last 4, including last Friday night. I can't remember who they played, but they did win Friday night, so they're winning 3 of their last 4, and they're on the bubble right now, ranked 36th in Division III, so a win over a strong Cape Cod Academy team tonight would definitely catapult them maybe into the top 32, into a position to make the tournament.
There's not many games remaining. You got to make your own case to get in at this point. The last 2 games of the 2022 season are this tournament. This is Russ Dubovic. His layup didn't go. The rebound brought down by Connor Levitt. Pseudo press on for the Seahawks. The 3 is good for Darmani Santiago.
That's really what Rockland wants. They love to drive down the lane in transition and kick out, and that's what they found with Darmani Santiago, who's been a great shooter for them this season. Only a sophomore, so definitely a lot of room to improve throughout his high school career in the future for the Bulldogs.
Brissett got the pass from Trey Merritt and a hold called on Levitt. Brissett in the corner. Stutter steps his way in. His jumper doesn't go. The rebound to Mateo Vasquez. Yet to be seen tonight is one of the Bulldogs captains, Lucas Leander James. We saw him roll his ankle a little bit the last time he was here in a fiery battle against the Green Wave.
That was a fun one.
Entering is Tremaine Perryman. It's a completely different look, James, than we saw the first matchup between Rockland and Abington. Perryman and Leander got the start in that one.
Exactly, and especially Tremaine Perriman just checked in. Tremaine Perriman's been one of their leading scorers all season, so interesting that Coach Fred Damon decided to switch it up and start a new personnel.
Vasquez goes all the way up and finger rolls it in. 10-2 Rockland on top. The Seahawks without both of their senior captains tonight. Jaden Greenleaf, our sophomore captain, Kelvin Danforth. Right as I started talking about Leander, he gets ready to check into the game along with Michael Moriarty, another one of the Bulldogs captains. The 3, nothing but net for Levitt. And that forces the Seahawks to call a timeout, James. They're down 11-13-2 with 4:44 remaining in the first quarter.
Pretty much a perfect start for Auckland, both ends of the floor. They've been getting all the looks they want offensively. They gave up an early 2 to Ross Dubovic. And after that, it's been a 13-0 Rockland run. We saw a big 3 from Darmani Santiago, another one from Connor Levitt. Rockland really likes to shoot the outside shot as well as score in transition, and that's what they've been doing for the first 3 minutes of this game. And that's what Coach Fred Damon and the coaching staff are hoping for throughout the rest of this one.
Well, the MIAA took the rare step of doing new rankings on Sunday night. They released them late last night. Have you gleaned any information from the new set of rankings?
I haven't. I looked at them last night as I was getting ready for this one to see where everyone was. Cape Cod Academy is ranked 6th in Division 4, so they're towards the top of that. They've got a great squad. I believe 13-3. Rockland 6-12. They started off the season slow. They've won 3 of their last 4. They're on the bubble right now, so a win over Cape Cod Academy would certainly help their case. And they're ranked 36th, so they'll need a little bit of ground to make up. Then Wednesday night will also be a big one. And I'd say if Rockland can really win this tournament, they'd solidify themselves in the top 32 and put themselves in a good spot to make the tournament for next week.
Deafening defense here for the Bulldogs. The jumper, couple bounces off the metal and in for Berekett Nelson. Rather, that's number 13, Russ Dubovic. Moriarty down low to Vasquez. It's good. The assist there to Michael Moriarty. Halfway through the first, 15-4. Long 2 is good. That was Trey Merritt, the sophomore. Just 2 seniors on this team for Cape Cod Academy. One is the senior captain, Jaden Greenleaf. The other, Emmer Polot. And a timeout called by Coach Fred Damon of the Bulldogs. 3:41 remains in the first quarter. They lead it by 9, 15-6.
That was a strong turn of events for Adam Rose and Cape Cod Academy Seahawks. That's what they wanted offensively coming out of the timeout. They got it was a layup from Ross Dubovic and then a mid-range jumper from Trey Merritt to get 4 points. They've struggled so far here offensively. Hopefully for Coach Adam Rose and the Seahawks, they're able to start to string together more defensive stops and better defensive possessions and not as many empty possessions on the offensive end of the floor. Maybe cut this lead down to 3 or 4 by the end of the first quarter to put themselves in a better position.
Dubovic has 4 of the 6 Cape Cod Academy points. Bulldogs have done a great job on defense. It's not a press, but they're double teaming the ball carrier when it crosses into the offensive half court.
And that's something we've seen over the past couple of seasons from Coach Fred Damon and Rockland is just they love to put pressure on the ball, whether it's in the half court, in the back court. They love to, make it as hard as possible for the ball handlers of the other team, and that's what they've done so great the past couple of years, and they've done great this season, as we saw it earlier in February, like I said, when they played here against Abington.
Moriarty off the inbound pass. Rolls off. The shot attempted by Santiago. Kicked out to the top for the 3 from Polot. It doesn't go. And the rebound gathered in by Santiago. He finds Moriarty. He had some room. Pump fakes. Now Leander floats it up. No good. Connor Levitt going to come back in for the Bulldogs with 3 minutes remaining now in the first quarter. Ten to shoot for the Seahawks. Moriarty comes up with the steal. And now it is Perryman. Moriarty gets the loose ball back and doesn't go out of play.
It looked like Ross Dubovnik was waiting for it to go out of play, and it just never did.
Yeah, that was a weird play down on the left side baseline.
And this certainly has been a great sequence of events since Adam Rose called the timeout for Cape Cod Academy. Really, they've had a lot better defense, put more pressure on the ball, made it tougher for Rockland, as well as had better offensive possessions and better looks as they've cut the deficit down to 8 when originally they were trailing by 11 at one point, down 13-2.
Some confusion on the possession. Coach Damon is arguing his case that it should be a Rockland ball. And he's going to win the argument. The rare successful appeal by the coach.
I believe the refs originally called it. Well, it looked like a travel on the floor, but the refs I don't think called it a travel. So it was just led to some confusion between both coaches as well as the officials, and they sorted it out.
3 for Levitt doesn't go, and a foul on the rebound. Santiago called for the hold. Corner 3 comes up short. The rebound ping-ponging around and eventually makes its way over the baseline. The last to touch it was Amir Pulot. Floater off the glass, no good for Gavin Wardwell, his first minutes of the game. Jordan Langley's getting ready to come back in for Rockland. 90 seconds remain in the first. And a foul on the layup attempt from Pulot. The block called on Ramsey Youssef.
This is something Cape Cod Academy has also improved on as we've gone through the first quarter. They've kind of stepped up their defense, but they haven't been committing any fouls. Obviously have 0 fouls at this point in the first quarter compared to Rockland's 4. So as long as they keep going to the hoop and drawing contact, they'll keep getting to the line and putting Rockland in foul trouble.
Santiago at the top. He waited for it. Now a 3. Doesn't go for Langley. And the Seahawks come away with the rebound with 1:05 to go here in the first quarter. 15-8. The Bulldogs lead it. Merritt on the far side works his way baseline. The pass broken up by Langley, and eventually it is Youssef able to gather it in. The Hail Mary complete to Langley. Now he pump fakes, works his way baseline. Count it, and 1 for Jordan Langley.
And last time we saw Rockland here at Abington High School, Jordan Langley had a phenomenal performance, and I believe he has 4 points here early in this one. He's been one of their better scorers all season. He's a senior, one of the more experienced players. And hopefully for Rockland, he helps lead them and does what he's been doing all season and lead them in scoring as well as his hard defense. He creates turnovers, he creates steals, and just is an all-around positive effort for the Rockland Bulldogs.
Ten-point lead for the Bulldogs, 18-8, 33 seconds to go. There is a 8-second difference. Make it 1 second difference between shot clock and game clock. Now for the Bulldogs, Langley bounces over to Levitt. He's looking for Leander. Now Langley takes the 3. It rims out. The Bulldogs, the Seahawks have 10 seconds, but Levitt comes up with a loose ball. Underhands to Leander. He's blocked. That was number 22, Mateo Vasquez. Santiago, Wardwell, and Moriarty all in. Leander, Vasquez, and Levitt all come out. Cape Cod Academy intercepts the inbound pass. The buzzer sounds. The first quarter has come to an end. 18-8 the score. The Bulldogs leading Cape Cod Academy in game one of the 2022 Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. A little bit of a slow start for CCA, James. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs started strong, and then the foot came off the accelerator.
Exactly. It was pretty much all Rockland that quarter. They started hot offensively, scoring 15 points in the first 4 minutes, but then only 3 points the remainder of the first quarter. So they did cool down offensively, but defensively, almost a picture-perfect start for the Bulldogs. They've been creating tough looks for Cape Cod Academy, who, like we said earlier, is without 3 starters. So struggling offensively, including their leading scorer, Jaden Greenleaf, who's been tremendous his whole high school career, but they've been struggling offensively. Rockland has made it tough for them. No really easy looks. They've been going to the free throw line. I believe they have 4 free throws. And as long as they keep attacking the basket, they're going to keep going to the line, drawing contact, and putting Rockland in foul trouble, as well as scoring in transition, what Adam Rose and the Seahawks have been really great at this season, and that's really pushing the pace and pushing the floor.
Rockland will have possession to start the quarter. Levitt, Langley, Yusuf, Mateo Vasquez, and Santiago back on the floor for the Bulldogs. Langley's layup gets blocked away. He went 1 against 4 on the Seahawks. Now on the other end, it is a successful layup for Trey Merritt.
That was a strong finish in transition through traffic. Trey Merritt, young sophomore, has been playing. He's been one of the better players tonight. He's been consistent on both ends. He's been productive on the offensive end. I believe 4 points so far for him tonight. So they're going to need him to heat up to get back into this one.
Yusuf getting assaulted in the corner. He gives to Levitt. Now it is Vasquez committing the travel. The break comes from on the last play when Langley went 1 against 4 for the layup attempts. He lost his mask in the process. Santiago hustling back and almost went headfirst into the bleachers.
If those bleachers were pushed up like they normally would, he probably would have been in the 3rd, 4th row of them.
He would have been mixed amongst the Green Wave basketball team, who was catching a bit of the action before they get ready for their tip-off against Sandwich. Very friendly encounter, I'm sure it would be. Merritt, fast break, lays it off the glass and in.
And like I said, that's going to be something that's huge for Cape Cod Academy to get back in this one. Is just their guards releasing, following a defensive rebound. It will give them really easy looks, especially we saw Trey Merritt there with a fast break layup, and they'll just use their speed and their athleticism to get down the floor. And like I said, they like to play fast. They like to get up and down.
Yusuf, the last player to touch it, so I want to say it was off of CCA. Now the catch and shoot from Santiago didn't go. He's fighting for his rebound, walking the dog down there, looked like. Now Langley takes the top of the key 3 and nails it.
And that's something, if you're Cape Cod Academy, you don't want to let happen. Jordan Langley's been one of the better outside shooters in the South Shore League this season, so given any separation, he's more times than not going to knock down that shot.
Merritt called for the foul, his first, the second committed by the Seahawks. Leander and Perryman get ready to come back in for Rockland. Santiago hits the front of the rim with his first attempt.
And you know what's funny? It's very possible we could have an all-South Shore League final as well as an all-Cape and Islands League final. So Cape Cod Academy and Sandwich both in the Cape and Islands League, Rockland and Abington both in the South Shore League. Make for some familiarity between the two opponents.
Could have an all South Shore League final in the state tournament, too.
Exactly, yep.
Basketball might end up being a repeat of what happened with the Super Bowls at Gillette Stadium. It was dominated by teams from the South Shore. Count it and one. That was Thomas Brissett for the Seahawks. You look at Division 4, you got Randolph is tops of that one right now.
Cohasset, another big team up towards the top of those. I believe Carver is ranked 11th or 12th now as well. So South Shore League.
Norwell's up there.
No, yeah, Norwell. They're a lot better than I thought they'd be. They have a terrific guard play. They have two humongous big men, including one's only a sophomore. So the sophomore duo between, I remember Ryan Lucarelli, their point guard. I can't remember the other kid's name. But he's like 6'5". And it's terrific play between them. So Norwell Clippers are going to have a great program going forward the next couple of years.
Langley intercepting the pass. Perryman gets held up on the layup attempts, flings it out to Santiago. Leander kicks out to Langley for the three. Rims out. Santiago followed the shot and got it. Now back to Perryman. Moriarty's going to come in. Perryman takes the three and nails it. 4:53 to go, second quarter. Timeout on the floor called by Rockland. 25-15, they're out to a 10-point lead early in this one. Game one of the Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. The winner will face the winner of Sandwich versus Abington. James, what can we expect in that matchup?
Sandwich is a team that loves the outside shot, especially they have a junior captain Logan Murphy. He's one of the leading scorers in the Cape and Islands League. I watched their game where they played Martha's Vineyard. He scored 10 points in the first quarter, 9 of them on threes, and he's just going to be a threat anywhere beyond the arc, anywhere on the floor. As soon as he crosses half court, it seems as if that's his hot spot. He's able to hit from anywhere, and it's going to be interesting to see the defensive game plan for the Green Wave. I was thinking earlier today they might be interesting. Maybe they put one of their better defenders like Drew Donovan or Mike Van Luling, maybe a box and one. Don't really try to limit his touches and his opportunities to shoot from the outside, and really try and shut down him because they have another player. I believe I have their roster right here. Senior captain Sean Lansing. He's their only other player that I had to watch. So as long as they can limit Logan Murphy tonight, I think the Green Wave will be in a really good spot defensively as well as offensively, and be in a good spot to win that one.
Green Wave sitting at number 13 in the Division 3 rankings.
Sandwich number 19, so it should be a fun one.
So we saw with the hockey rankings, one win can do a lot for you. The Green Wave hockey team was on the outside looking in going into Saturday night, and then they beat Cape Cod Academy not Cape Cod Academy, South Shore Voc-Tech, emphatically 4-0, a shutout there. When the new rankings were released yesterday, the Green Wave found themselves on the inside at number 30 by virtue of that one win.
In doing the math out, assuming they still have another game left to play, so a lot can change, but the way their seedings have aligned, they would actually host a preliminary round game against South Hadley. So that would be a fun one.
I would much rather have the Green Wave host that preliminary game against South Hadley than have to travel to South Hadley for that game.
I'm sure they can agree with you.
three is good. That was Brissett.
And it looked like Rockland may have got away with a foul there. It looked like, I believe the defender was Jordan Langley. It looked like he hit Brissett's arm during the three, so it could have been a 4-point play, but the refs decide not enough contact to call a foul. Cape Cod Academy cuts it down to 7.
Leander kicks out to Langley, who finds a wide open shot and rimmed it out. Now Meriden fast break against Moriarty. The foul called on Michael Moriarty.
And a lot of people may disagree with that foul call, but I like that. A lot of times, just because defender has their arms straight up, it looks like it's not a foul, but Michael Moriarty was still running down the lane.
It's the feet you got to watch on a block call.
Exactly. Michael Moriarty was still running down the lane. He kind of cut Trey Merritt off, so definitely a good foul call there. Send Trey Merritt to the line.
Gavin Wardwell in for Leander. Limited minutes for one of the co-captains for the Bulldogs, James Lucas Leander, tonight.
And, yeah, like you said, we saw him earlier in February. He had an ankle injury in the middle of the game. Came out for the rest of that one, so probably just trying to monitor his injury, make sure nothing prolongs his recovery and nothing gets worse.
Merritt's going to get called for the reach here. His second foul, third committed by the Seahawks. Passed into the backcourt for Santiago. He gives off to Langley. Langley takes the floating jumper. Almost hit it too. It went off the metal, then the glass and out. Russ Dubovic with a nice layup through contact.
This has been a tremendous start to the second quarter for Cape Cod Academy. They've cut this lead down to 4. They were down 10 at the end of the first quarter, so not more Coach Adam Rose can ask for from his team. They're fighting hard. They're competing against a gritty Rockland team to get back into this one.
Langley finds Moriarty, who is hit after putting up that shot. He'll be at the line for 2. Emir Pullet called for the contact. Moriarty's first attempt in and out. Ramsey Youssef comes back in. He will replace Brett Armstrong. Moriarty's second attempt is good. 5-point lead for the Bulldogs, 26-21 with 3:05 remaining in the second quarter. Trey Merritt, beautiful jumper from just about the charity stripe.
Sorry about that. It sure was. Trey Merritt's been a tremendous all night. He got a steal but lost it, but he's been excellent. He's been the leading, I believe he's probably the leading scorer for Cape Cod Academy. He's really one of the main reasons they're still in this one. After a slow start in the first quarter, he helped the Seahawks get back into this one, cut the lead down to 3.
Almost came up with the steal there and ended up losing it out of play. Santiago spinning around him, kicks for Wardwell's 3, and that's good. Brissett, the contact. Youssef went down, no call. Langley kicks out to Wardwell for the 3. It's good. Wardwell hitting it from back-to-back possessions from opposite wings. Brissett gets held up. Youssef and Moriarty were both there for Rockland. Moriarty gets the call. Big 2-possession swing for the Bulldogs, courtesy of Gavin Wardwell. Levitt back in for Moriarty. Lead currently at 8 for Rockland. 1 for 2, but an offensive board. Brissett kicks over to pull up for the 3. No good, and the Bulldogs let it bounce out of play. They will have possession. Spinning attempt doesn't go for Santiago. Another good jump shot for Trey Merritt.
And Trey Merritt's been using his quickness and his shiftiness to really get open. He's really gone by his defender his past couple possessions, got to the elbow, and that's his sweet spot. We've seen tonight, and he doesn't really miss when he's wide open from the elbow, and he's really been tremendous, like I said, all night long.
Langley goes flying through the lane, off the glass and in. 1:05 to go here in the second, 34-26. Yusuf comes up with a steal here. Santiago stops and pops, got it blocked, and then called for the travel as he also came down with the ball. .43 seconds remain in the first half. Push called here on Wardwell, kind of an obvious push, James.
Exactly, and that was a smart play by Rostabovnik. He saw Wardwell was kind of coming at him uncontrollably. Instead of trying to go up with the shot, he just decided to try and run baseline, couldn't get baseline, and just drew the contact to go to the line.
1-and-1 bonus situation for the Seahawks now. Levitt taps the rebound out, and it is eventually knocked out. Good awareness play. The last player to touch it, Jordan Langley.
And that's been kind of Cape Cod Academy's kryptonite tonight. They've really struggled at the free throw line. They've had a lot of opportunities to cut this game down to 4 3 points, but they have struggled at the free throw line, preventing them to do so.
Travel called on Debovic, and the Bulldogs take over. Shot clock off, 28 and change to go. Rockland leads it by 8 over Cape Cod Academy. Levitt with 10 over to Santiago, who pump fakes. Now gives over to Langley, gets it back. 3 seconds. Santiago lost it. Wardwell takes the jumper. It doesn't go. And the buzzer will sound. That is how the first half comes to an end, with Rockland leading by 8, 34-26. James, what did you see that Rockland needs to work on? What did you see that they've done right? And the same question for Cape Cod Academy.
Well, Rockland struggled at the beginning of the second quarter as well as at the end of the first quarter, but they made adjustments on the fly and were able to get this lead back out to 8. Cape Cod Academy got the lead down to 4 at one point, but Rockland ended up pulling away. But Cape Cod Academy just really needs to kind of get better defensive possessions as well as find better looks offensively. Trey Merritt's been carrying the load offensively. He's found some great looks, but they're going to need to open up the floor, find open jump shooters outside, which is what their strong suit is, that's outside shooting, and get back into this one as they trail 8 at halftime.
34-26 is the Rockland lead over Cape Cod Academy in Game 1 of the 2022 Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament, presented by Abington Bank here in the gym at Abington High School. We're going to step aside, take a quick break, and bring you second half action right after this. Hello and welcome back into the gymnasium here at Abington High School for second half action. It is the Cape Cod Academy Seahawks and the Rockland Bulldogs going at it in Game 1 of the Sean P. Cotter Invitational Tournament. Cape Cod had possession. Rockland stole away the opening pass of the quarter. They lead it 34-26 coming in to the third quarter. I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson. He is Dr. James Madden. Leander called for the contact down low. He starts this second half after playing limited minutes in the first. He's out there along with Ramsey Youssef, Jordan Langley, Darmani Santiago, and Mateo Vasquez.
And you can see Lucas Leander, their captain. He has a brace on his right ankle, which is the ankle he injured earlier this month when they came here to play Abington. So I'm guessing that's why he had limited minutes. Normally a starter for Rockland, but definitely want to monitor his ankle injury as they go forward. Only a junior, so he still has a lot of games left in his Rockland career.
Multi-sport athlete, also competing in football and baseball for the Bulldogs. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, it was number 2, Trey Merritt, that ran the floor for the first half. He is their leading scorer. What are the Bulldogs going to do, James, to measure his attack?
Well, we saw it earlier. Their first offensive possession, he got the defender to overcommit, and that's something Rockland can't do, especially 30 feet from the basket. He wants to use his speed to get by the defender, and when the defender overcommits over the top on him, it just makes it a whole lot easier for him, and he got to the line. Drew contact down low and got to the line, and he was able to get, I think, 1 free throw to put them. Now they've cut the lead down to 5, but Mateo Vasquez goes line for Rockland.
Wardwell's going to come back in. He had a swing of 2 consecutive three-pointers that helped the Bulldogs break away in the first. He is going to come in for Mateo Vasquez at the next break as Vasquez goes 0 for 2. Pull off the rebound, and it is eventually kicked out by Brissett. Santiago crisscrossing, finds a lane, then kicks to the corner for Langley's 3. That doesn't go. Youssef taps the rebound out of play.
It looks like Rockland's going to open up the second half and full court pressure, try and make it a little bit more difficult on Trey Merritt and other point guard Ross Dubovic for Cape Cod Academy, but they kind of backed off the full court press.
This is Dubovic. His footer doesn't go. Offensive board, and fouled on the rebound was Mikey Santos. Second foul already committed by the Bulldogs here in the third quarter.
And like I said in the first half, this is something they're going to need to clean up. This free throws for Cape Cod Academy. They've struggled at the free throw line tonight, and if they want to have any shot to get back in this one, if they're going to keep going to the free throw line and drawing fouls, they're going to have to convert.
1 for 2 goes Santos. The lead cut to 4, 34-30. Wardwell bounces to Santiago, who lost the handle, is able to keep it in the front court. Takes the jumper. That one rims out. Langley scrapping for the rebound. It is grabbed by Dubovic. Dubovic called for the travel. Wardwell gives to Langley at the top. Langley drives in, kicks to Youssef for the jumper, and that's good.
So we heard Sean Riley talking about moving a car. I feel every year during the Sean Cotter tournament, there's always one car that's parked where they shouldn't be, and they always have to make an announcement about moving the car.
Charge called here on Trey Merritt. It's becoming every game.
It certainly is.
They put the cones out there for the end of the regular season to block the fire lane by the tennis courts here. last game I think it was a Hyundai. Red Hyundai that moved the cones that your Uncle Bud took so much time to put out a nice organized diagonal pattern to prevent that from happening. They moved the cones and they broke one of them. Whoever owns that Hyundai broke one of the cones.
They were dedicated to parking in that fire lane.
Plenty of parking out in front of the school. That's all I'm saying. Corner 3 for Langley. Rims out. Yusuf grabs the offensive board. Wardwell will attempt the tray. That one is off the metal and out. And the Seahawks come away with the rebound. Moriarty is going to come back in. The push called on Langley. Moriarty in for Yusuf.
And something else to monitor is Cape Cod Academy. Their leading scorer tonight, Trey Merritt, already has 3 personal fouls, so that's something to monitor if you're Adam Rose. Hopefully for them he doesn't pick up his 4th foul anytime soon, and they're able to keep him in this one.
Nice reverse layup for Thomas Brissett. Makes it a 4-point game once again, and the Bulldogs turn it over. Quick hands by Drew Donovan along the baseline.
We've seen his quick hands all season.
Both the Blue Knights of Sandwich and the Green Wave of Abington scouting their next potential opponent.
Exactly, and like I said, Sandwich very familiar with Cape Cod Academy. Those two teams have met once this season. I'm not sure if they've played twice, but Abington and Rockland, like we said earlier, have also met this season. So possibly 2 Cape and Islands League teams and 2 South Shore League teams facing off on Wednesday night.
Long pass intended for Merritt, intercepted by Santiago. His layup is good. Full court man defense for the Bulldogs. Brissett gains half court. And then a reach is going to be called on Wardwell. Count it, and 1 for Dubovic.
We've seen that all night from Dubovic. He's been able to use his ability to get downhill and get to the line, get down the lane, get to the basket, and he's been able to finish strongly tonight. And we saw it there. Gets the end one, gets to the line with a chance to cut it down to a 1-possession game.
Not only that, but Gavin Wardwell has 4 personal fouls. Moriarty. The bucket doesn't go, but he'll be at the line for 2. Moriarty hits his first. He went 1 for 2 his first trip. Goes 2 for 2 this time to make it a 6-point Rockland lead, 40-34. Brissett gets around Moriarty. His jumper is off the glass and in. Three and a half to go in the third quarter, 40-36. And an offensive is called on Rockland. Michael Moriarty called for the contact.
And that's real early to pick up. They have 16 fouls, so that means Cape Cod Academy will be going to the line for the remainder of the game with 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And this has been a great start to the second half of Cape Cod Academy, an almost perfect start on the offensive end of the floor. They were down 8, 34-26 at the half, cutting this down to a 2-point lead, following a strong finish at the rim with a chance to take the lead next possession.
Leander comes back in. He will replace Perriman. Jumper doesn't go. Moriarty grabs the rebound, and then it's intercepted in acrobatic layup attempt by Amir Pullat, and a foul on the 7th chance, I think, of that possession for the Seahawks.
A lot of offensive rebounds, and that's been the name of the game tonight. They've rebounded great. There hasn't been many offensive rebounds both ends of the floor, but Cape Cod Academy's done a great job on the defensive end with defensive rebounds, preventing Rockland from getting second and third chances, and that's one of the reasons why they're still in this one. Chris Gordon at the line with a chance to tie this one up.
Moriarty exits with 4 personal fouls. So now 2 Bulldogs in some serious trouble, Moriarty and Wardwell. Leander gives to number 31, Jake Belcher. Santiago back to Belcher. His pass looking for Leander was knocked out by one of the Seahawks. Santiago has it stolen away by number 11, Polot. Gets his own rebound and then is fouled. Already 8 fouls committed by the Bulldogs here in the third quarter, in which 2 minutes remain. That one called on Levitt.
And that's just a product of the way Rockland likes to play basketball. They're a physical group. They like to play hard. They play tough. And it hasn't really been to their advantage tonight. 8 team fouls with still 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. So Cape Cod Academy in a good position right now, going to the line for the remainder of this one.
Tie game as Gordon goes 2 for 2. Jordan Langley back into the game for Rockland. He finds Leander in the corner. Back to Langley, now Santiago. Rockland having some trouble getting it inside the perimeter. Leander finds a lane. His floater doesn't go. And Merritt grabs the rebound for CCA. The pass to Gordon, his layup is good.
And it looked like Rockland got away with a foul there, but I'm sure Cape Cod Academy will just take the no call, giving them the easy 2 rather than sending them to the line, which most likely would have been on the floor for a 1-1.
CCA on a run. They lead 44-40 behind Chris Gordon with 2 consecutive baskets. Langley step back 2. It's good.
That was an impressive move by Jordan Langley. And like I said, he's been one of the best outside shooters all season in the South Shore League, and he showed it off there. Cut this lead down to 2. And really, I believe his foot was on the line, so only a 2, not a 3.
Counted in 1. Rockland looking for the travel. It is Gordon once again. Yusuf called for his second personal, the 9th committed by the Bulldogs in this quarter.
Chris Gordon's been tremendous here in the third quarter. He's been doing it all on the offensive glass as well as on the defensive end of the floor, protecting the rim, altering shots, as well as, like I said, getting rebounds and sending him to the line. He got the and one there. Unfortunately for them, couldn't convert the free throw, but he's one of the main reasons they've got back into this one.
Leander, a nice underhanded layup to draw the Bulldogs back within 2. 32 seconds remain in the third quarter, 46-44. 6-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Brissett working his way around, kicks out for the 3, and that is good for Amir Polot. Shot clock off, 10 seconds to go in the third. 5-point lead now for Cape Cod Academy. They have dominated the third quarter. Leander takes the jumper, too long. Merritt with the rebounds. The shot did not come before the buzzer. The third quarter has come to an end. The Seahawks ran away with that one, James, in that 8-minute frame. They swung it all the way from, I believe, a 5-point lead for the Bulldogs to having a 5-point lead of their own in the span of those 8 minutes. 49-44, the Seahawks lead it at the end of 3.
That was just terrific on both ends of the floor. Like I said, Chris Gordon was huge for the Seahawks in that quarter. He played great defense for them down low, kind of using his big frame and physicality down low, altering shots, protecting the rim, as well as offensive rebounds, second and third chance for the Seahawks. And he drew some fouls, getting to the line. We saw a big and one late in the third quarter that sent him to the line. He wasn't able to convert the free throw, like I said, unfortunately, but just really changed the momentum around for the Seahawks, gave them more hope, like you said, down by not a significant margin, but a little bit of a lead for the Bulldogs at halftime. Now they're up 5 at the end of the third with a chance to cap this one off and go to the Sean Cotter Invitational Tournament Final.
Well, we want to thank you for watching this broadcast. Maybe not every broadcast for our current audience from the gym here at Abington High School, youtube.com/abingtoncamo2351/live. Hello to you folks down on the Cape and in Rockland, wherever you may be watching from. Every game, all levels, freshman, junior varsity, and varsity live here from the gym and over at the Rockland Ice Rink. Might be a couple of home playoff games coming up. MIAA seedings released later this week. And then we will know where we're going to end up for the various playoff runs. If you miss one of our live broadcasts, maybe want to catch a government meeting, watch a game back, AbingtonCam.tv, the place to go for on-demand video, live streams of our cable access channels, and more. We will have Game 2 of the Cotter Invitational Tournament. About 15 minutes after the conclusion of this one. That one will feature the Blue Knights of Sandwich and your Abington Green Wave. Langley pull-up jumper doesn't go. Offensive board for Santiago, and through heavy contact, it didn't go. Next foul, the Bulldogs commit will put CCA in a double bonus for the remainder of the game. Corner 3 for Brissett is good to extend the Seahawks lead to 6.
And as you can see, Rockland has switched to a zone, and while switching to a zone, that's the shot you really give up, is the corner 3. And if you're going to defeat the zone, that's one of the huge ways to get out of it, is just shoot through it. And we saw it there, big 3 in the corner from number 14, Thomas Brissett.
Langley, meanwhile, on the other end with an artistic layup. Merrick gives over to Dubovic and will let it roll all the way down. CCA saying they think that was a tip.
Our second car announcement of the night. And I do know someone who owns an orange Jeep, so I'm wondering if that's the same
now there's
orange
2
Jeep.
offenders. Okay.
The same. I believe it's the same fire lane.
It's the same fire lane. How many orange Jeeps are there in Abington?
I'm not sure. I'm not going to use his name, but I do know someone who owns an orange Jeep that does go to school here. So I'm wondering if that's his orange Jeep.
So for CCA, one would think you would rather have Rockland have to inbound it at half court after a backcourt violation than letting it roll all the way to the baseline. Ultimately, it won't matter because the Bulldogs just turned it over out of play.
Now I've heard Coach Adam Rose talking to his team. I was going to say, I heard him saying they want to try and find the middle, the high guy at the high post. That's number 11, Amir Polat. So they want to try and find him to open up three-point shooters. But we saw there, I believe it was number 14, Thomas Brissett, who just said, I'll do it myself, and hit the long three to give Cape Cod Academy a 7-point lead.
There was a call after that three as Langley takes a three. That one rims out on number 11. I believe they said delay of game.
I'm guessing, I didn't catch it, but I'm guessing he touched the ball after it entered the hoop. So normally they give you your one warning, then after that it's a technical foul.
Brissett gets called for the holds as he reached around Santiago. Nine-point lead for CCA now, 57-48. Langley floats it in for Santiago. Langley again, he lost it. It is Polat, rather Dubovic. The hold called on Santiago. Dubovic at the line for two. It's his first.
One thing I've been impressed with here in the second half has been their adjustments. Cape Cod Academy's really adjusted. Like I said, didn't really know how they were going to score on the offensive end of the floor. I thought they might struggle without three starters, but they've played just fine. They had a tough first half, but Coach Adam Rose and his coaching staff, they're a great coaching staff, and they've made some great adjustments to help Cape Cod Academy get out to a 10-point lead.
The three from Polat doesn't go. Brissett grabbing the offensive rebound. Ten-point lead for CCA, 58-48, 5:05 remain in the fourth quarter. Seahawks in a double bonus. Rockland's got an uphill battle ahead of them. Langley pull up two off the mark. And now a break for number 11. That's Amir Polat. Moriarty back in. And he will come out as he just committed his fifth foul. Brett Armstrong will replace Moriarty. Moriarty done with 4.5 minutes remaining. Merritt pump fake from the top of the key. The three doesn't go for Dubovic. And the Bulldogs come away with it. Leander's pass down low for Armstrong doesn't go. Dubovic was looking for it, fast break. Instead it's Merrick now, Dubovic. Down low for Gordon, and his jumper is good. Santiago spins, shoots, no good. Gordon the rebound. Wardwell's going to come back in. He's got 4 fouls as well for the Bulldogs. CCA in clock management mode. Dubovic's three off the mark. Mateo Vasquez with the rebound for Rockland, who now trail by 12.
And it'll be interesting to see when Rockland decides to go into a full court press, put a little pressure on the ball, and try and force turnovers, as we see Jordan Langley knock down a big three, cut it down to a 9-point game.
Technically three possessions if you're sharp from the outside. 60-51 with 3:13 remaining. Winner of this game will face off against the winner of Sandwich versus Abington. That game coming up 15 minutes after the conclusion of this one. The consolation game slated for 5:30 on Wednesday evening. The championship will be at or around 7 o'clock. We'll have both of those games for you live on Abington Community Access and Media. And then it's tourney time.
Exactly, yep. And like you said, consolation game. Though it's only a consolation game, still a lot to play for because all 4 teams are in their respective playoff pictures. Like we said, Cape Cod Academy ranked 6th in Division 4, so I'd assume that they're a lock to make it. Abington 13th in Division 3. They also have 12 wins, so they're in no matter what. Sandwich 10-8, they're 19th. They have their 10-win margin, so they're in the tournament. But Rockland is a team on the outside looking in, 36. So this game would be a big win for them as well as winning Wednesday. With a loss, might diminish their chances, but anything can happen, so you never know what the committee will think. They still have a lot of ground to make up, down 9 here with 3 minutes to go.
Merritt gives over to Dubovic. 3 minutes remain. CCA wasting out as much of the clock as they possibly can. And a block is called on Mateo Vasquez. We're set at the line. It's his first to make it a 10-point game once again. One for 2. Langley gets the rebound and a hold called on Gordon.
Not sure I agree with that foul call. I would have thought the call would have been a jump ball, but they do call number 20 on Chris Gordon for the hold on Jordan Langley.
Surprised Rockland didn't call a quick timeout there.
They have 2 remaining, so Coach Fred Damon he wants to save them in case this game does get within 3, 4, or 5 points.
Merritt comes up with a steal. Now it's Dubovic. His layup is good over Brett Armstrong. Perriman's going to come back in. The pass off the mark from Santiago, looking for Langley. Perriman in. Vasquez comes out. Dubovic grabbing the inbound pass now with 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bulldogs trail by 12. Make it 14 as Dubovic hits the jumper. 65-51 the score. Three for Wardwell. Doesn't go. Rebound tapped out by Langley. Merritt lost the handles. Santiago from his stomach able to get it to Perryman. Langley, open 3. In and out. Armstrong fouled on the putback attempt. Amir Polak called for his 3rd personal foul.
So assuming that Rockland doesn't come back from a 14-point deficit with 1:20 remaining, Cape Cod Academy is going to move to 14-3, a big win over a team that is in a higher division, so definitely will help their rating points. Cape Cod Academy hadn't played in a while. Their game on Friday night, I believe, against Falmouth was canceled. So it hasn't played since the 13th, I believe, where they played O'Brien High School out of the Intercity League. They lost 71-69. So back on the winning track to move to 14-3 for the Cape Cod Academy Seahawks.
Reverse layup finds its way home from Santiago. And he is favoring his left leg. Hold called on here. It's going to go on Santiago. Dubovic at the line. Misses his first out of play off of Gordon. The Bulldogs need 4 3-pointers in the next 45 seconds for the tie. Wardwell works his way in, forces it down to Armstrong. He goes strong to the bucket and is fouled. Missing his first attempt. One for 2. It is an 11-point lead for CCA. Perriman getting in the way. And CCA will inbound with 21 to shoot, 29 on the clock in the fourth. Merritt dribbling against Santiago. Lost it, but Pollock picks it up. Now Brissett works his way in. Foul called on Armstrong. Meanwhile, for the Bulldogs, James, you lose by north of 10 to an opponent that is a division lower than you. This might be a dagger for them.
Exactly. Though Cape Cod Academy is in Division 4, they're a very talented team in Division 4, but they really only look at the divisions in the MIA committee, so it's going to hurt their rating points a lot. So obviously, I don't want to speak on behalf of the committee because they still have to do their rating points and their seeding, but it's going to be tough for Rockland to make it in. I believe only one regular season game remaining. That'll be Wednesday against the loser of the second game of tonight's tournament.
Clock stops with just under 10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. CCA is going to win it and will advance to the championship game of the Cotter tournament. Merritt grabs the inbound pass and will dribble it out. 11 points is the final margin. All of that gained in the second half. Rockland led at halftime by 5. CCA comes away with an 11-point margin of victory, 66-55, James.
Exactly. It was all Rockland in the first half, but Coach Adam Rose and his coaching staff made great adjustments at halftime to get back into this one. Great defensive adjustments, making it tougher for Rockland. And they ultimately prevailed with an 11-point win. I believe down 8 at halftime, so a 19-point swing in the second half. And it's tough to call a player of the game. We had so many great performances we had Ross Dubovic, who had a great night. Big man Chris Gordon, who had a great second half, kind of helping them get back into this one. But my player of the game would be Trey Merritt, the sophomore, because of his ability. He gave the Seahawks hope in the first half. They got outplayed by a significant margin in the first half, but without his tremendous play, they wouldn't have been down 8. They might have been down 14, 16, kind of not giving them as much hope as they had at halftime. So for me, player of the game would have to be Trey Merritt.
Yeah, he hit a couple of big shots in the first half to keep the Seahawks close at that point, and that set the tone for the rest of the game. I absolutely agree. Trey Merritt, the player of Game 1 of the Cotter tournament. Stay tuned. 15 minutes from now, we'll have the Sandwich Blue Knights and the Abington Green Wave in Game 2. The winners of that will face off against the Seahawks. Rockland falls, the final margin 66-55 to Cape Cod Academy. They're moving on. Meanwhile, Rockland will await to see who they play in the consolation game at 5:30 on Wednesday. I want to thank you for watching this broadcast of Abington Community Access and Media. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Dr. James Madden, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson. We will see you next game.